Augustus leaned in so he thought I couldn't hear. She's a regular? I couldn't hear Isaac's comment, but Augustus responded, I'll say. He clasped Isaac by both shoulders and then took a half step away from him. Tell Hazel about cleaning. Isaac leaned a hand against the snack table and focused his huge eye on me. Okay, so I went into clinic this morning, and I was telling my surgeon that I'd rather be deaf than blind. And he said, it doesn't work that way. And I was like, yeah, I realize it doesn't work that way. I'm just saying I'd rather be deaf than blind if I had the choice, which I realize I don't have. And he said, well, the good news is that you won't be deaf. And I was like, thank you for explaining that my eye cancer isn't going to make me deaf. I feel so fortunate that an intellectual giant like yourself would deign to operate on me. He sounds like a winner, I said. I'm gonna try to get me some eye cancer just so I can make this guy's acquaintance. Good luck with that. Alright, I should go. Monica's waiting for me. I gotta look at her a lot while I can. Counterinsurgents tomorrow? Augustus asked. Definitely. Isaac turned and ran up the stairs, taking them two at a time. Augustus Waters turned to me. Literally, he said. Literally? I asked. We are literally in a half of Jesus, he said. I thought we were in a church basement, but we are literally in the heart of Jesus. Someone should tell Jesus. I said, I mean, it's gotta be dangerous, stirring children with cancer in your heart. I will tell him myself. Augustus said, but unfortunately, I am literally stuck inside of his heart, so he won't be able to hear me. I laughed. He shook his head, just looking at me. What? I asked. Nothing, he said. Why are you looking at me like that? Augustus half smiled. Because you're beautiful. I enjoy looking at beautiful people, and I decided a while ago not to deny myself the simpler pleasures of existence. A brief awkward silence ensued. Augustus plowed through. I mean, particularly given that, as you so deliciously pointed out, all of this will end in oblivion and everything. I kind of scoffed at, sighed, or exhaled in a way that was vaguely coffee, and then said, "I'm not Bew. You're like a millennial Natalie Portman, like V for Vendetta." Natalie Portman. Never seen it. I said, really? He asked. Pixie-haired, gorgeous girl dislikes authority and can't help but fall for a boy she knows is trouble. It's your autobiography, so far as I can tell. His every syllable flirted. Honestly, he kind of turned me on. I didn't even know that guys could. I didn't even know that guys could turn me on, not like in real life. A younger girl walked past us. "How's it going, Alyssa?" he asked. She smiled and mumbled, "Hi, Augustus." Memorial people, he explained. Memorial was the big research hospital. "Where do you go?" "Children's," I said, my voice smaller than I expected it to be. He nodded. The conversation seemed over. "Well," I said, nodding vaguely toward the steps that led us out of the literal heart of Jesus. I tilted my cart on its wheels and started walking. He limped beside me. "So see you next time, maybe?" I asked. "You should see it," he said. V for Vendetta, I mean. "Okay," I said. "I'll look it up." "No, with me, at my house," he said now. I stopped walking. "I hardly know you, Augustus Waters." "You could be an ex-murderer." He nodded. "True enough, Hazel Grace." He walked past me, his shoulders filling out his green knit polo shirt, his back straight, his steps lilting just slightly to the right as he walked steady and confident on what I had determined was a prosthetic leg. Osteosarcoma sometimes takes a limb to check you out. Then, if it likes you, it takes the rest. I followed him upstairs, losing ground as I made my way up slowly. Stairs not being a field of expertise for my lungs. And then we were out of Jesus' heart and in the parking lot. The spring air just on the cold side of perfect. The late afternoon light heavenly in its heartfulness. Mom wasn't there yet, which was unusual, because Mom was almost always waiting for me. I glanced around and saw that a tall, curvy brunette girl had Isaac pinned against the stonework of the church, kissing him rather aggressively. They were close enough to me that I could hear the weird noises of their mouths together, and I could hear him saying always, and her saying always in return. Suddenly, standing next to me, Augustus half whispered, "They're big believers in PDA. What's with the always?" The slurping sounds intensified. Always is their thing. They always love each other and whatever. I would conservatively estimate they have texted each other the word always 4 million times in the last year. A couple more cars drove up, taking Michael and Melissa away. It was just Augustus and me now, watching Isaac and Monica, who proceeded a space as if they were not leaning against a place of worship. His hand reached for her boob over her shirt and pawed at it. His palm still while his fingers moved around. I wondered if that felt good. Didn't seem like it. But I decided to forgive Isaac on the grounds that he was going blind. The senses must feast while there is yet hunger and whatever. Imagine taking that last drive to the hospital. I said quietly, "The last time you'll ever drive a car." Without looking over at me, Augustus said, "You're killing my vibe here, Hazel Grace. I'm trying to observe young love in its many splendored awkwardness." "I think he's hurting her boob," I said. "Yes, it's difficult to ascertain whether he is trying to arouse her or perform a breast exam." Then Augustus Waters reached into a pocket and pulled out, of all things, a pack of cigarettes. He flipped it open and put a cigarette between his lips. "Are you serious?" I asked. "You think that's cool? Oh my god, you just ruined the whole thing." "Which whole thing?" he asked, turning to me. The cigarette dangled unlit from the unsmiling corner of his mouth. "The whole thing where a boy who is not unattractive or unintelligent or seemingly in any way unacceptable stares at me and points out incorrect uses of literality and compares me to actresses and asks me to watch a movie at his house. But of course, there's always a hamartia in yours," he said. "Oh my god. Even though you had freaking cancer, you give money to a company in exchange for the chance to acquire yet more cancer. Oh my god. Let me just assure you that not being able to breathe sucks. Totally disappointing, totally." "A hamartia? Hamartia?" he asked, the cigarette still in his mouth. It tightened his jaw. He had a hell of a jawline, unfortunately. "A fatal flaw," I explained, turning away from him. I stepped toward the curb, leaving Augustus Waters behind me, and then I heard a car start down the street. It was Mom. She'd been waiting for me to, make friends or whatever. I felt this weird mix of disappointment and anger welling up inside of me. I don't even know what the feeling was, really. Just that there was a lot of it. And I wanted to smack Augustus Waters and also replace my lungs with lungs that didn't suck at being lungs. I was standing with my Chuck Taylors on the very edge of the curb, the oxygen tank, ball and chaining in the cart by my side. And right as my mom pulled up, I felt a hand grab mine. I yanked my hand free but turned back to him. "They don't kill you unless you light them," he said. as Mom arrived at the car. And I've never lit one. It's a metaphor, see. You put the killing thing right between your teeth, but you don't give it the power to do killing. It's a metaphor, I said, dubious. Mom was just idling. It's a metaphor, he said. You choose your behaviors based on their metaphorical resonances, I said. Oh yes, he smiled, the big goofy rear smile. I'm a big believer in metaphor, His Grace. I turned to the car, tapped the window. It rolled down. I'm going to a movie with Augustus Waters, I said. Please record the next several episodes of the ANTM marathon for me.